They didn't make a mistake in trading him. I think they made a mistake in the way they did it. Look, you obviously didn't get much for him. They're going to waive Langston Galloway. Tariq Evans is gone after this season. You basically got a draft pick, a first-round pick, and Buddy Hield. Right. Okay, a role player. I think why not wait until the absolute last minute and then maybe the offers elsewhere get better? I mean, I talked to a lot of executives who didn't want to touch him, so maybe those offers weren't out there. But you could have got this deal right up to the deadline, or maybe you keep him and see if he can improve his trade value over the rest of the season and trade him this summer.
Listen, that's funny because Chris brings up and I've always had this kind of belief in the NBA. It's a very small circle. Everybody knows trouble guys.
Yep.
And the longer you waited with Dwight Howard, the worse it got. So I tend to believe if you have a player that can be disruptive, you get rid of him as soon as possible because in the next month, he'll be disruptive again. And you trade him after he scores 36 against Denver. You trade him after 3 or 4 nights when you feed him the ball, your coaching staff feeds him. I mean, I look at it this way. As somebody who's been divorced, there's no wrong time to get the divorce if it's not working to protect your family, to protect the kids, to protect yourself, to protect it. You get a divorce.
So this was right.
I mean, to me, it wasn't working. So let's move on and get the best we can get.
Well, here's the thing, too. It's so much more going on underneath the surface in regards to Sacramento on Boogie Cousins.
Okay,
now,
yes.
I would say this. Sacramento Kings, the organization has to take responsibility in this, too. Because from the beginning when he was there, they didn't hold him accountable for anything.
Right.
So now the toothpaste is out the tube. Now you want to try to reel him back in. No. He needs to have an organization that's going to hold his feet to the fire. And they never did that. So he was allowed to react, to do things that were incomprehensible to what they wanted to do. So they have to take fault in that. But I thought it was great for them to finally have to move forward, to move on. Because they weren't going to the playoffs. They weren't winning. So cut the cord now.
Let me make an argument to Chris on this. Let's just call him a conflict guy. I don't want to take any shots at DeMarcus. Conflict guy. He creates conflict. I think it's harder to keep a conflict guy in the NBA because I can't cut him. I'll take a risky personality, a conflict guy in the NFL. I can cut him. He knows I can cut him. I got 6 receivers on that roster.
Right.
Not that I'm picking on receivers. He could be a left guard. but I think in the NBA, conflict guys are tougher to manage.
Well, because the guarantee.
Right.
Because regardless of what I do, like how much pressure is there on the individual for him humanly to get better? Because if you look at Boogie Cousins, since he left Kentucky, he's really worked on his game. So that's really not the question. He can shoot threes. He's got an intermediate game. His post game is second to none. We all agree to that. But as a person, how much time has he spent on working on the human being? Because when you have that guaranteed money, now, is this enough of an impetus for him to be able to get more help? Because I know he's gotten some help in the past because he just lost $30 million.
Yeah.
So I understand why Sacramento decided to come off of him, especially, as you said, the toothpaste is out the tube. But at the All-Star break, when all these discussions with him being involved, do you want to bring him back to Sacramento? Have you seen his conduct the last 2 weeks? I mean, he's already up to the technical foul limit.
Yeah.
So every time he gets a check, he's being suspended for a game. You're at the All-Star break. It's a perfect time, because they're not going to be able to get better deals in the future. And if he goes back, he could lose this deal for you.
Listen, we would acknowledge that Boston's well-run. Celtics.
Yeah.
They wouldn't trade Marcus Smart for him. Like that was one of the things I heard. Boston may not be great, but you need players. They're a well-run organization. Like I heard, and Boston with DeMarcus Cousins would be a threat.
I would have liked to have seen him in Boston or Washington, because I think that would have made them a contender Eastern Conference.
The story is out.
I talked to executives. More than half of them I talked to would not touch him. Now, I want to ask you guys, because you mentioned a structured organization, great leadership in the front office, like a Pat Riley in Miami, or that one player like a LeBron James he has to respect. I don't think New Orleans has that. Now, and you mentioned all this. Do you think this was a good deal? I mean, they got a steal, but do you think this will pan out for them?
Well, I played for Alvin. Alvin Gentry was my assistant coach in Phoenix. I don't know if he's that guy that can get into his voice, or whether Demps is the GM.
Demps is kind of on shaky.
But let me go back to this, instability. I played in Dallas 4.5 years. I had 3 different owners, 4 different coaches.
Wow.
DeMarcus Cousins had 6 different coaches, 2 different owners. How do you develop anything, especially with a volatile personality like that?
Right,
so
right.
it brings up a very good question when you go to New Orleans. They both have to trust each other.
Right.
That if you bring him in, you tell him that this is how you're going to act. And when he reacts a different way, you got to stick to the script.
Well, good luck.
Will they be
I
able
don't
to do
think
it?
there's anybody there to do that.
That's
the problem.
going to be. Can him and Anthony Davis? Can they depend
Remember,
on each other?
AD's younger than him, so he's not going to probably listen.
Boy.
to